Hey guys, this is Kevin with Spirit of Twilight. I hope everybody's doing well today. As I mentioned in the prerequisite, if you would, or prerequisite, I'm going to be wrapping maybe a stone or two, but this is actually for a YouTuber that I've been following for quite some time, and I absolutely positively love her. She's wonderful. She's a great person, and she certainly deserves this. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So I have Rainforest or Moss Agate here in front of me. I just got an order in today, and this is something I've been waiting to get so I can make these for them. So I found these two are so pretty because there's red on this one and some green, and then there's this like kind of a lightning look on this one here, which I really, really, really like. So I'm going to be using these two. Hopefully these won't take too long, but I'm using um, raw copper probably for both, unless if I decide otherwise. So I'm just going to start cutting my copper wire for one pendant, and I'm cutting maybe 6 inches. I'm going to do 3 of them like I normally do. Oh, look at that. I'm at the end of my wire. I may have to go get more. Okay, so this is actually 18 gauge raw copper wire. Now this wire you can purchase. I got this, believe it or not, from Home Depot in their housewares department. Now this is officially raw, naked copper wire, and it's very beautiful, very shiny. Copper does have some health benefits to it as well, such as helping with blood circulation. It is a great conductor of energy, a great conductor of electricity. So I decided to use this because this YouTuber is a very warm and kind person, and I really, really like her very, very much. Um, she used to live down here where I live, but she no longer lives there anymore. I'm going to be using also, let's go with 26 gauge copper wire. And I'm making this because I really appreciate her. Now, I've done some videos before for other YouTubers, and they promoted my products. Now, I'm not looking for a promotion. I'm just doing this because I really, really like this YouTuber, and she's phenomenal. So you get started on that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with the reddish one here. It's just absolutely gorgeous. And I'm going to try to make this two-sided so they can wear it either on the front or the back, or if it turns around, it won't look that much different than the front side. So I'm going to start wrapping about halfway through. Should I do that one or should I do it the other way? Yeah, let's do that. Let's do the more simplistic wrap with this one, and then I'll do the other wrap, or the other wrapping way, the other one, which is a bit more intricate. So I'm taking 3 of these wires, 18 gauge, and I'm wrapping them with the 24 gauge copper wire. And if you notice, I'm doing this kind of loosely. And the reason for that is because when you're wrapping jewelry, especially when you have multiple wires, you want to make sure the wires lay flat. And I'm not using a square wire or a flat wire, so I want to make sure everything is good to go with this. As far as everything remaining flat, it's the way that I want it. So if you hear any clumping, that's me grabbing tools, pliers, and other things. And I'm just going to bend this up. And this little tail here is a little bit too long, so I'm just going to snip that short. Go. Okay, make sure I can catch that later so my cat doesn't. Cuties and wires are not good. Speaking of which, she just walked in the room. My cat is psychic, aren't they all? Okay, so now that I have this, I'm just going to continue wrapping till I get to the desired length of my base for this particular stone. And this stone doesn't really have a flat edge on it, so I'm going to kind of gauge a little bit just to make sure everything is good to go and everything turns out beautiful and looks pristine and wonderful just like she is. Okay, so I want to make sure this will sit in the bottom of my stone, like so. Then I'm going to take this, I'm going to turn it. I'm just going to very simply wrap the wires around the stone while holding the stone in place. Now, my base wire for the bottom has already moved, and that is certainly normal in this type of wrap. And again, these stones are tumbled, they are polished, so they are a little harder to work with because they like to slip. Okay, so now that we have a general idea of what the stone looks like with our wire, I'm gonna move that base wire back. There we go. And I am going to cut that away. So I can lay that flat against the stone so they are not nicked in any way, shape, or form when they're wearing this pendant. Now, I did order these stones from my supplier, and they sent them to me. They're not so far away from where I live, so it's no big deal. And I did pick them out. They sent me pictures. I sent the results back of what I wanted, and they sent me the stones. So I have a few. I'm going to take my back two wires and pull them out slightly. And I'm going to crimp them inward to where the stone is going to be set. And that way the stone doesn't fall out on the back side. And then we'll just stretch it out a little bit, like so. Now, taking your stone, I'm going to put that into the setting. But again, this is not going to be set as of yet at all. There we go. The back wire back again, pull these forward, and we're going to pull that down and wrap this around. Okay, so this creates a temporary setting for me to look at the stone and where everything is going to be. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is take out my stone, being that I know I need to wrap wire up here so everything stays in place. I'm going to go back to the wire that I just cut, which is my 24 gauge. I'm going to leave a tail about maybe an inch, inch and a half. I'm going to start wrapping these wires. And you want to keep it even and wrap it a little tight, but not too tight. Make sure they are flat if you can. Sometimes they will start wrapping with their own mind. Then you're going to take the tail and you're going to slowly and gently wrap this around to the point where you're able to tuck it inside and underneath the stone. Okay, now that I've done that, I'm going to take this piece here and pull it down. Make sure everything is nice and set the way it's supposed to be. There we go. And then I'm going to take two of these wires from the front and I'm going to pull them aside. And that holds this in place while I am configuring other things for the pendant itself. Excuse me. Okay, so let's go ahead and make sure these are still flat because these kind of got jumbled up a little bit. So let's go ahead and flatten those out. Go on the other side as well. Okay, now as you notice, when I did that, all of these kind of aligned, which is good. That's what I wanted it to do. Okay, let's take our stone, put it back in. Okay, now those back two wires, I'm gonna pull those forward again. This little piece does not want to stay. I'm gonna have to fix that before I send it to her. Okay, so let's pull this out again. Because apparently when I straightened the wire, it did not stay like it was supposed to. And the same with the other side. Push that out. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna pop that in there. Okay. Now our stone is in the setting, but again, it's not secure. So what we need to do next is make sure this doesn't move, which it shouldn't because we bent those down. I'm gonna take the two front wires and I'm just gonna pull them slightly inward towards the center of the front of the stone. Don't want to bend them too much because I want the stone to show. Obviously, that's one of the reasons why I'm making this pendant. Is this is one of their favorite stones. So what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna create what I call a doily wrap, and the doily wrap it looks like a piece of lace like your grandmother used to hand make. So I'm gonna wrap the wire around once, and then twice. Then this is gonna come over, so we're gonna go underneath the next one and wrap that around. Okay, and then this one is underneath. We're gonna go on top of this one, like so. And this one is on top, so this one's underneath as well. Two. Okay, and you want to keep this as tight as you can while you're doing this, just to make sure nothing really slips. Okay, so now we're underneath, so we want to go to the. I'm sorry, we're on the top, so we want to go underneath. Wrap it twice. We're underneath. We want to go on top. Wrap it twice. And you get the idea. So this is what it's going to do is create a fan-like effect as I'm doing this, and you'll see once I start completing it just how beautiful this looks. Because it doesn't look like much now. It looks like just a few wires hanging around doing absolutely nothing. And there's nobody in the chat. I always pick the weirdest times to do these things. And nobody comes to the chat, which is fine. It's available later if people want to see it, but they're probably not going to see anything. And that's okay. This is based on my own oopsies. 2, 1, 2. Down, 1, 2. Up, 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. And I don't usually count like this. I'm just doing it because I don't know what else to really talk about this time. So, let's talk about the website. Right now, I have marked down a number of select pendants that I made from their original price, which ranged between $24.50 all the way up to $44.50. They're all marked down to $19.95. And you also can get 20% off your order if you spend $50 or more. In addition, well, there's a promo code for that anyway, it's summer. But that's going to end at the end of the month. In addition, you can get free UPS priority shipping if you spend $75 or more. And there's no promotion code for that. That happens automatically. So even if you don't use the promo code and you still spend $75, you still get the free shipping. So that's what I'm doing right now. And you get 20% off with the promo code, as I mentioned before, summer. But that I'm just doing because of we're welcoming summer to our beautiful lives. And if you live where I live, it's summertime all the time. So I like to escape to a different area. Okay, so as you can see, this is starting to come out very nicely. Okay, as far as the weave is concerned. But I'm going to keep going just a little bit more. Because I really want to create a nice effect. Almost like a leaf, if you would. Now, I'm pretty much at the midway point for the bail. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start moving these wires closer together. And the reason for that is so when I come and attach these in the back, then they're all going to line up and I don't have anything to worry about as far as getting anything stuck or have pieces that I can't do anything with them because they're not aligned correctly or they stick out or what have you. And that does happen. And I don't know what the heck is going on with this, but it doesn't want to wrap. Come on. 1, 2, there we go. Okay. That one's on the bottom, go on top. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do 2 and 2 now. Make a different pattern for the back. There we go. Okay, so let's do that instead. Not because it's easier, just because if there's too many wires right now. 1, 2. Okay, let's go over this way. And you have to sometimes hold these in place, which can be a little challenging. But it's a part of what I do, so I like a challenge. Okay, this one's on the bottom, this needs to go to the top. One, two. One, two. One, two. One, two. Push that down. That needs to be pushed down. I'm getting closer to the end of my design. So I can make my bail. And this is just the bail. So that's good because if I do any more, it's probably not going to fit the way I wanted to underneath in the back. So we're going to go ahead and straighten these out and make them parallel like so. And then I know a lot of people, they use a pen. So I'm going to use a pen. Sometimes I don't. So you go to the midway point with the pen, like this, okay? And you're just going to wrap this around. And since this is a solid metal, it may be a little difficult to bend, so just take your time. There we go. I'm going to push that in the back. Okay, so there's our bail, as you can see. I really like it. It's very nice. And the back side is a little bit of a different design, but same concept. So what I'm going to do next is I have these little wires back here from making the bail. And I'm going to take the outermost wire and I'm going to tuck that through the front of the pendant. I'm going to take that piece and I'm going to pull it around all the way at the top, or at the top as I can get it. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to do the other side. Push that up. And these are a little bit smaller. So I may not be able to wrap it a couple times like I want to. I may be able to wrap it once. So just to keep it neat and even, we're just going to wrap this one time instead of two. Push this to the front, grab it. It's very hard because it's really small-ish. Come on now. Okay, now since this one is so small, I can tuck this in the back. Like so. Hold it up. And okay, good. One more time. That's better. Okay. So now this one, because it's longer, I'm just going to go ahead and cut this one short since I had the problem. The other one, and put our pen away. We don't need that anymore. And I'm going to take this and do the same thing. With this, pull it around to the top. And I'm going to tuck it in the back. So they don't get cinched in any way. I'll show the front is nice and even. There we go. Okay. So now we have the other two wires. And what I'm going to do with those is I'm just going to get my round pliers and I'm going to take that small little one. I'm going to roll that up. Like so, into the back of the bale. And I'll do the same thing with the other one. Just going to cut that one short. And do the same thing. So you're still getting a nice geometric pattern with the wires, even though they're shorter, and that's okay. Okay, so I still have this tail to deal with, and that's all right too. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to wrap it around a few times. You probably see me do this before in other videos. And oh, by the way, I decided, if you haven't looked on spiritofTwilight.com at my blogs, I decided I'm going to go ahead and start doing tarot readings again. So I'm going to offer them paid very, very inexpensively because I used to do them for nothing on YouTube. And not that I minded doing it, it's just people came and just wanted free readings all the time. Okay, so we got this squared away here. I'm going to take it and pull it around the front, like so. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is, since I use all of that wire, I'm going to open another 24 gauge. Going to get some more of that 24 gauge wire because I ran out. And this is okay. Nothing to worry about, really. I'm going to cut a piece of that, probably a good 3 or 4 feet. And I'm going to secure this to the side. Move this out of the way. Pull that out a bit. I'm going to start up here because I need to hide this tail and secure it to the rest of the coil. Go. So I need to pull this a little bit tighter. There we go. I'm going to very slowly route this around. Then I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to crimp it so it lies flat. And we're going to push that up against the other ones. So now you really can't see that I added any coils. And just to make sure, I'm going to take this, I'm going to press it with my pliers so it lays exactly flat against the other ones. So you really can't tell that I started with another wire. I think I actually used a different size wire now I'm looking at it. Oh well. And it's sticking out just a tad, so I want to make sure it goes in there and it is flush. There we go. Okay. So now I have this piece, and it's going to slide around until I secure everything. So I'm going to hold that in place, and I'm just going to take this wire, the 26 gauge or 24 gauge. I'm going to slip it under the first main wire. So that slipped too. That's weird. That usually doesn't move at this point. Okay, so I'm going to lift that up slightly and get that in there. There we go. All right, so this is not cooperating. I need to fish for it and pull it through. Okay, now as I pull this, it is going to lay against that wire from the set. Okay, so if that's flush in there, I could continue to coil this. Okay. And you could tell where I went underneath, right there's a little lump, and that is perfectly normal. And let's wrap this a bit more. And as you can see at this point, I'm not wrapping and pushing, I'm actually pushing as I go. Because unfortunately, what's going to happen is this wire, the big one, or the main wire, the setting wire, is going to bend. So I want to leave just a hair of it like that. And try to push these up gently. Being careful not to scratch the wire. There we go. Okay. So now I have an ending here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this into the front of the stone like so. And I am going, I don't know if I should do this. Yeah, I think I will. I think we're just going to end it like this here. I'll take my wire again and go under the other side. And when you're done, you'll notice that the longer you let the jewelry set or the pendant set, the stiffer the wire becomes. So when you're creating jewelry, pendants, earrings, bracelets, whatever you're doing, as long as you let the wire set, it will be fine and it's workable. Because that way your client or your customer, and I got a kink in here, I hate when that happens. Just cut that off. Your client's going to get a good piece of jewelry that's stable. And that's something, of course, that you do want to create. I'm going to take this and pull this through the front. And there's another kink. I'm going to hide that. Go. And we're going to wrap this around one more time. Just to make sure it stays in place. Now, the YouTuber I'm wrapping this for, again, she loves trees. She loves the Fae. She's into anime. She has quite a few pets on her videos, which I happen to love, cats and dogs. Unfortunately, I'm allergic to dogs, but I still love them. But yeah, I don't know if you can guess who this person is, but I really absolutely do love her content. I think she is a fantastic, fantastic person overall as well. She's very genuine, including what she can and cannot do, and so on and so forth. She's just a wonderful, wonderful human being, and she deserves to have something nice. Not that she doesn't have anything nice, but she deserves to have a pendant, in my eyes, made for her. Okay, so I'm going to take that and I'm just going to roll that up, as you can see. So that completes this portion of the pendant. Okay, now this side, I don't have any more wire to wrap with. So I'm just going to use this just to beautify the actual setting of the stone itself. And you'll see when I'm done here with the stone and the setting, how this is going to all work out beautifully. So I'm just going to make a spiral. Some people call this a spiral of life. Okay. And that lays flat. No nicks. Okay, that's good. All right, so now back to the stone and finalizing this particular setting. Now she could wear this on both sides if she wants to. Whatever she feels like doing, it's entirely up to her. But this part is open, so I need to move these wires in again to avoid them from allowing the stone to pop out. So holding the wire like I just did and crimping the back wire inward like so. Now that stone is very, very secure. Okay, I'm going to take this and push this closer to the stone. So I have a flat side. Push that closer. Pull these closer together. Make sure everything is squared away. Nothing is sticking out. And there's our base. Okay, so this is pendant number one. And they can wear this on either side, whichever one they choose. I just noticed one more little problem. I'm going to take this and I'm going to crimp it on the bottom again. Apparently it came out just slightly, where the copper wire bent back to its original shape. There we go. And every time you crimp something, it makes everything tighter. So isn't that beautiful? Just a nice pendant. Okay, and this one didn't take too long. It wasn't super hard, but it's just a beautiful, beautiful pendant. And every wire is stuck. Every wire is in there. So that would be number one. And we're going to go on to stone number two, which is this one here. And I personally happen to love this. I just love, it's almost like lightning, or it looks like a leaf. Just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And I never actually thought about buying these until they mentioned this was their favorite. And I was like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to see what I can get from my supplier. And I did. And I'm very happy with the outcome. Okay, so I've got this stone. And this is another piece of the same rainforest or a moss agate or rainforest agate. I believe that more rainforest has the brown in it. This is pretty much all brown. So I'm going to leave that aside. I gave her one with the brown and the green. So I just want to make one that's all green so she can feel the earth, so she can feel the trees when she's walking. Oh, green tea. Love it. Okay. So let's take this one and let's wrap this one. Now this one is pretty flat, so this one's going to be very easy, but also I can make it very intricate, which is a good sign as well. So let's start off with this one. Now, I think I'm going to go with copper again. Copper is ultimately my favorite wire to use because it is a very sturdy type of wire. It is just, it's a wonderful thing to use. If you are a beginner, and I say this in every single video, if you are a beginner just learning, don't run out and buy expensive raw copper wire or sterling silver wire. Give yourself a chance to practice. Give yourself a chance to learn, and just buy cheap wire from like Michael's or some other type of venue that sells wire that's not so expensive. Actually, let's do titanium for this one. Let's go titanium, which would be from Parawire. And I really like the titanium. It's very pretty. But I think this, the titanium, blah, 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 blah. The titanium will definitely go better with the green. It's kind of a grayish color, so I think that will look better because this one doesn't have any red hues in it, and I don't think it'll pull from the copper so well as the other one. So let's start with that. Okay, so I'm going to use I'm going to go round, so I'm going to put the square ones away. So I'm pulling probably about a foot of this 18 gauge wire. And this wire is titanium color overlay. This is not titanium that you can buy in a jewelry store, or it's not raw titanium. This is a titanium overlay wire that has been treated as anti-tarnish. And also another really nice thing about it is it has a copper core. So you're still getting the benefits of the copper wire, but you're getting a different color of wire that's not going to wear off. It's not going to wear away. Which reminds me, I probably need to order more of this too. Okay, so this one, I'm going to do a full wrap, and this one is going to take a little bit longer than the previous one, but hey, I love what I do, so it doesn't matter to me. All right, so I'm pulling probably a good 6 feet of this wire. Okay, now this one, I'm going to start on the end like this. A little tail again. And I'm going to move some of these tools because they are just going to get in the way, and I know it. Okay. I'm going to wrap this around 3 times, just like I did the other one. And this wire is a little bit thicker. You can tell the anti-tarnish finish. You can feel it. And it's so smooth, but Parawire is so good about when they seal their wires that it holds up against acidic skin, which is wonderful for people if they are concerned about stripping their wire with their oils and their skin. So if you have an acidic skin, this is going to, prevent that tarnishing from happening with the set itself on the anti-tarnish finish. Okay, so you guys, again, you may have seen me do this in the past in another video. I'm going to take this and just wrap it around 3 times. And 3 is a good number for a lot of people, which is the reason why I use 3s, 6s, 9s, and 12s in my wraps. Okay. It just depends on your beliefs and other things, but it's a very good number to use. Plus, I always say 3 of the crowd, but 3 is also securing. So when you're using 3s when you're doing your wraps, it helps tremendously. So I'm going to take this one. I'm going to wrap it all the way around all 3. And again, this wire, the wrapping wire is so long. If I go out of the frame, I apologize in advance. I've really got to pull it. There we go. Okay, now there is a reason why I started this with going in between these 2 wires to bring them all together. And the reason is because when you line these up, these are going to stay more parallel. They're going to stay flat. So, but I'm doing a kind of like an Aztec formation on this one. So I'm not going around all of my wires like you may have seen in other videos. This one I don't do so often, but I like it because it makes these triangles and it reminds me of trees. So I'm thinking of her when I'm making this with the idea of trees in mind because she loves the forest, she loves rivers, she loves being in the outdoors, and she loves practicing that way with her spirituality. So when I make certain items, it usually has a story behind it, especially if I'm making something for someone specifically with them in mind. So if you order from me directly and you ask me to make something, it's going to be with that person's personality, spiritual beliefs, any of that type of criteria in mind. Okay, there we go. So we're starting this again. All those. Now, since I'm doing like an upward motion here, I realized I was supposed to go back down. So I'm going to start doing that now. Go around 2, 3 times, and then 1. This particular style of wrap is, again, a lengthy process. This isn't one that you could just pull together and boom, 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 it's done. Most of my jewelry is not boom, 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 and it's done. As you can see on my website, spiritoftwilight.com. And again, I'm just going to mention for anyone that's just joined me, if there's anybody there, I'm doing a special right now. I've marked down quite a bit of select pendants that were $24.50 to $44.50 down to $19.95. In addition, if you purchase $50 worth of merchandise from spiritofTwilight.com, you can take advantage of taking 20% off with promo code SUMMER. And that promotion is good until June 30th of this year. In addition, if you purchase $75 of merchandise from spiritofTwilight.com, you will get free priority shipping, and that is in the United States only. And that is 2 to 3 day shipping, no charge to you. I just take it out of the amount that you spent as long as it's over $75. Okay, so now as you can see, I'm starting to make this into a pattern. I'll show you in just a minute. Okay. Kind of an Aztec, but it's a triangle formation. And I didn't do that up here. I accidentally skipped down to the bottom. But this formation, again, it reminds me of trees, and this reminds me of them. So that's the reason why I'm actually doing this, is because I'm thinking of them and I'm thinking of their personality, what they would like, and what I can accomplish from their personality to make this piece of jewelry fit them the way that I know them, which I don't know them personally, but I do know them from YouTube, and I have met them in person a very, very long time ago when they worked in the general area. And I'm very happy to say that I do know them or know of them. Go throughout the top again, so now we're going to go to the bottom. We're down with 2. And then 1. Go. And this wire it's very easily bendable, as you can tell, because I have to keep pushing these into place, which is not a bad thing, depending on the type of wrap that you're doing. But I do love this wire. I just placed an order with them, I think it was last week, and it was for more of the titanium color, but I don't think I ordered any square. I think I ordered all round. So I may need to place another order for square wire. But Parawire is a wonderful company. They're premium wire. They're not as expensive as what a lot of people may think. But they are a good company, and they're based out of the Northeast. Now, when I order my sterling silver, I don't have that much available or that many pendants available on spiritofTwilight.com. The reason for that is because a lot of people aren't buying the sterling silver, because sterling silver can be very expensive just to make a piece or two. So I have to sell it at a higher rate, and some people will pay that higher rate for the pieces, and it's also harder to work with than it is the copper. So the copper is kind of like the mid ground, if you would, between this wire and sterling silver. But you do want to start off with a very inexpensive wire. Again, you go to Michael's, spend maybe $7 to $10 on a roll of wire, and you'll get good quality wire, but I prefer to support smaller companies because I know in the long run they would want to support me and what I do. And I'm not promoting Parawire because they're paying me. I just like their products. And that was from another YouTuber who also does her own jewelry. So I came across Parawire. If it wasn't for her, I probably would not have realized or have known who they were. I'm going to flatten this out a bit. Now, I know this is getting a little wavy, and that's perfectly normal. And the reason why I'm okay with that is because I'm going to bend this anyway. So when I bend it, all the wires are going to tighten up. Two, three. I picked the darnest times to do this. Where nobody comes in the chat room, nobody watches. But they all seem to watch later after I'm done, and that's fine. It's like my tarot readings. When I used to do tarot readings, I used to pick the dumbest times to do it. Then I started doing it in the evening here. But in California, I don't think people were off of work yet because I was doing it around 7 Eastern time. So, yeah. Anyway, it's going to keep going. Then what I'm going to do after I get this going a little bit is I'm going to switch up the pattern to something else. Okay, so I just ended right here. Let me pull that in more. And what I'm going to do, since I have a little bit established here, I'm just going to take, starting here and roll. Let me do this down here. Take my stone and I'm going to roll it. Okay, so this will give me enough to get it all the way around, I believe. One side, two side, three side. And then this is going to be a crossover into the bail. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue with this pattern just a little bit more. And then I'll change the pattern of my weave. Let's see. To straighten out this 24 gauge wire, it's getting a little kinked up. Take your fingernails and push everything in. Make sure it's all nice and straight. Again, I prefer when I'm working with the 18 gauge wire for it to be very, very hard, what they call half hard. But this is definitely a little bit more softer. And again, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Two, three. So you can definitely work with it. There we go. Okay, let's get that up one more time. 1, 2, 3. I keep realizing I'm going out of the frame. I apologize. One, two, three. There we go. Okay, now back down. And the reason why I'm pulling one wire away as I go is because it's creating a separation where this stays straight. I'm trying to keep that as straight as possible when I'm doing this. There we go. Okay, so let's flatten that out. Oops, wrong one. Alrighty. Check that again. 1, 2, 3. I think I'm there. I really do. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to bend this to fit around the stone. So I'm going to bend this in a circle very gently. I'm going to go this way. Okay, now it should be right about here. Where the stone will sit. Like so. If you can see that. Okay. So that's a little too small. So let's open that up a bit. A little more. Okay, that's good. I want some negative space just slightly so I can pull wires through. So since this is set right there, I'm going to take my 3 wires from the beginning and push them across. And then I'm going to flatten them in place. Like so. And we're going to squeeze them together. Flat. And we're going to bend them around to the back. And this is the beginning of our frame for our stone. Okay. So now what I want to do is take this piece here and pull it out a little bit. That gives us some 3-dimensional texture to the actual pendant. And then these back here, I'm going to secure them by curling them. Like so. Now, one of the benefits of doing the curls on the back like this gives you an opportunity to attach or sew in, if you would, a wire that you may need to attach when you're working with the back and securing the stone in place. So that's why I do this. And I don't know if anybody else who makes jewelry does that, but I do it for that reason. Is so there's a place to anchor another wire just in case I need it. And I'm going to pull this one up a little bit and twist that one in like so. And tighten that up a bit because it is sticking out slightly. There we go. Okay. So now this is wrapped around and this is going to become our bail. Now, one of the reasons why I did this right away is because I wanted to see exactly how much room I have right now with the bail. And as you can see, there's not that much. So I need to continue this pattern till I get enough to do a loop all the way around for the bail. So let's just keep going with this. And since this is anchored, it's easier to work with. So once you get beyond, whoops, going the wrong way. Actually, you know what? Let's change the pattern. No, let's not. Not yet. I want to keep it going. I want to keep it simple. I want to keep it intricate for her. I want to make it nice and pretty and beautiful, and hopefully something that she'll want to wear every single day with the best intentions, where she can speak to the trees even if she's not in the forest. Move that out. Go back. Two, three. Okay, bring these back together. Like I said, this is not the easiest wrap to do because of the length of the 24 gauge. It's just getting tangled in everything. So it's probably easier to practice with a simple wrap than when you get to this size or this complicated wrap where you have to work with very, very long strands of wire. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm going to take a minute and straighten this out because this is driving me nuts. So you have a kink here. Pull the wire all the way out. Okay. Let's get back to it. Out. I'm going to choose again. I see that kink is still there a little bit. Ah! I'm sure I didn't unravel anything. Okay. I'm almost there, so we're going to go one more time. I know you guys must be bored of watching this, so fast forward if you want to. If you're watching this after I finish it, I'm going to post on YouTube. So I'll tell you what, this is a long video. And I love doing live sessions, but I know when it comes to these kind of wraps, it can be a pain. I've known other YouTubers who wrap jewelry, they've gone like 7 hours straight wrapping jewelry, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't do that. I don't know if they take bathroom breaks or not, but I wasn't even able to watch most of their videos because, unfortunately, we all have to use the bathroom every now and then. We all have to eat. We all have to get a drink. We have lives to live. Okay, now this is, again, it's getting a little wobbly, which is okay. I think this should be good. So let's go ahead and flatten this out. Okay, so now we're going to create the bail. And this wire is so easy to manipulate. I don't really need that pen. It's also very easily tangled. Okay, so I've got my wires here. And I'm going to twist these around like so. Just a few times. Make it very neat, very nice. And then these wires back here is what I'm also going to use to secure my stone. But I'm also going to use these to make another pattern. And what I mean by that is I'm going to take 2 of these and move it along the outer edge. So I'm going to take my wire, my 24 gauge, which is still very, very long. And I'm going to start doing a pattern with these 2 wires. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then this is going to lay on top. I'm going to take this and wrap it around and put it through right there. There we go. Okay, so now this is getting layered on top of the other 2 for the outside, creating more depth in the actual pattern. So what I'll do from here is I'm going to do different wavy pattern. Go 3 there. I'm going to take them both. 2, 3. Okay, hang on. That's only halfway there. So what we'll do, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. And I'm gauging everything with the pattern that's on the inside to make my pattern on the outside. So that was 2. Make sure it's flat, pull it tight, and make your third one. And then we're going to start again. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Not quite there yet. Push that tight. 2, 3. 1, 2. Yep. Okay. Mm, there we go. I am wearing my glasses. Okay. 2 and then 3. Go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So it seems like every other increment is getting pushed into the previous pattern up here. Okay, so that was 2, and we're gonna go 3. So they're nice and tight and flat. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 3. Pull that back in. 1, 2, 3. Really strange because of the way that the bottom is shaped. It's having me skip 2 rows of these. 1, 2, 3. Okay. 1, 2. Okay. 2. Ugh. 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's only 2. 3. 1, 2, 3. Again, you really have to keep these flat when you're doing this. Again, round wire is not the best. Square wire is much better. But I wanted to do this based off of the round wire instead of the square wire for some reason. Okay. One, two. Three. I'm just looking at the pattern, make sure I'm keeping up with it. Okay. One, two, three. Now this one is going to go into the previous pattern. I'll keep moving this one out of the way. That was the third one that I had in the back from the bale. So I'm going to go one, two, and this one goes in. Two, and three. Okay, this might be almost finished. Almost. One, two, three. One, two. It keeps overlapping. Stop that. Three. Okay. All right, I think we are in the ending here. Two. Home stretch, home stretch. Woohoo. Two. Three. Okay. Whew. That was fun. Okay, so now that I have that wrapped around, I'm just going to wrap this 3 more times on the outside really quick. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to move all my wires together again. And I'm going to straighten out this entire pattern. So it's all cohesive. It's all in line with one another. There we go. You can see that. And take my 24 gauge, pull that back. I still have 3 of these that I haven't used all the way yet. So, what else can I do? Let's take these 2 and pull them around. So, actually, you know what? Hold on. Let me get the stone sewn in first. Let's take all of our wires here, pull them forward. Excuse me. And take our stone make sure you have it the way that you want it, because once it's in, it's not coming out. At least it's not supposed to come out. So I want this to go up and down like a leaf. I'm going to take this, and I'm going to take my 24 gauge wire, and I'm going to start wrapping the stone. So to secure the other wires that I just used for wrapping, I'm going to take this, turn my stone off for a second. Take this, I'm going to put it through one of those loops. That I purposely left on the back. There we go. Now I'm going to put my stone in again. Make sure it's the right side. And this is, without a doubt, going to move. And you can see it's moving already. So you want to be careful when you're weaving this in, but also you want to make sure the stone is going to stay in place. Go back up here. Pull that as tight as you can, holding the stone. Move it very carefully to another section of the stone. Put it through the weave again. Pull that one tight. Back through the center. And it doesn't matter if you don't get everything perfect on the back. And I say that because with this weave, especially, if you cross over like I did here, if you cross over the wire, it's only going to make it stronger, okay? Which is what we want. So I'm going to hold this in place again. Again, push this through the weave. Hold it as tight as I can. Go back through the center, which at this point you might be running out of space. Which I believe I am. Okay, so I went through at that point. So let's shimmy that back over. So pull that as tight as you can. Chuck the front really quick. Okay, that did move. So we're going to push that stone back over just a little bit. This side, because it seems to be pushing this way. So I'm going to push that over, and then I'm going to anchor this right at the point of where you feel the friction of the stone being pushed to help anchor that in as much as possible. And then go through the center again. And what I'm actually doing is I'm actually creating an additional weave on the front, but it's not going to be very visible. Hopefully to not that many people. So let's go down this way. Again, push through the front. Or push through the weave. Let it go to the front. Pull tight. Up through the middle, which now it's going to be very difficult because your stone is really getting set. Okay. Then I'm going to do one more over here. So you kind of end up with this crisscross or spaghetti kind of pattern. Now this is so worn, I need to cut it off. So I'm just going to cut the tip off. Like that, and put it in my garbage pile. and it's just become so worn from forcing the wire through. You have to chip it off or you have to cut it. Just the tip. There we go. And back through here. And one other good thing about the protected or anti-tarnish wires is when you're using it against the stone, it will not scratch. So that's another plus. But again, I prefer the raw wires just because that's what I'm used to using. I really like them. Okay, so this is the last one. I'm just going to pull this up through here. Make that a hook again. Because this is one of my beginning little hooks that I made. Let's go around this. That one in the way? No. I can just get that to come out. I'd be good. And that is not working. Okay. So on that note, I'm going to go ahead and just put it through the bale a few times because I have the stone so secure and it's not going to move that I can't physically put the wire through anymore like I'd want it to. Okay, so this is our wrap and our stone so far, and it looks really, really nice. It really does. From what I can see, I really, really like it. So from here, now we can make decorations or do what we want to do with the front. Now, I like to take wires by themselves like this and just kind of make a design on the front just so it looks more um just more handmade, more authentic. I guess a better word would be. So let's take these two. I'm gonna pull this in really tight, like that. And I'm gonna move that around the back, but I wanna make sure these are gonna stay. I'm gonna push these down, like so. Okay. And the person that I'm making this for really likes, again, trees, and I'm sure she likes branches and that sort of thing. So that's what this is resembling is when you look at a tree and you see the branches will grow around anything really in the forest. So I'm trying to make these look like branches wrapped around the pendant. So I'm taking my 24 gauge wire one more time, working with it. And also if you have any type of flaws, okay, and mind you, we all do. Everybody will tell you they don't have everything perfect all the time. You're going to make it look like it was meant to be something there. Okay, so I have this anchored on to the side of my pendant. Okay, that doesn't mean it won't slip. So take this and pull it to the front again, like this. And I'm going to break this up a bit. I'm going to take this wire and I'm going to kind of play with it. I'm going to take this and put it through back to the front, like that, through the actual weave. I'm just making sure nothing up there. I'm gonna lay these flat because I want to create the idea that they're branching off from one another. Okay. So I've got these, they're in there, laying pretty flat. And I'm gonna take this one, I'm just gonna wrap this wire around like so. I'm gonna pull that in tighter. Okay, I'm gonna take this one and wrap it around like this. Because I want to make some detail. I want to show my craftsmanship. I want to make sure that the person that's wearing this is in absolute and complete awe. They're like, that's so pretty. Oh my gosh. Yes, that's what I want. Because it's theirs. It's a piece of art. It's something they're going to wear. It's my art that I made for them because they're such wonderful people. Okay, so let's take these two. And I'm going to take this around here. I want to make this a little interesting. And I'm going to push this back down through the weave again. Okay, that one is getting a little tight. There we go. How to pull that sucker through. Okay. So now I'm going to take this one and I'm going to go through these two to add even more texture to this weave. This actually might be one of my favorite pieces I ever made. So as I'm going through, I'm just making this a little bit more intricate. By creating different designs. And again, I wanted to make this look like it was a bunch of branches that are wrapping around this pendant. Okay, so I'm going to move this one back up this way, like so. And I am going to wrap this back here in a second. This one up here. That. But it's starting to look like I have branches that are growing out of the pendant itself. And that is exactly what I wanted to create for her. So I'm going to take this one and move it over the top, but I'm also going to weave it through the back of the other one very carefully, not to move the other pendant there and that piece. And I'm hoping that she sees again what I'm doing. So now I'm just taking wire, which was our base 18 gauge wire, and now I'm layering it into the other crevices that I made with the other wires to give it even more detail. This one is a little bit loose, so I'm going to twist this one in the back just to tighten it up. There we go. Okay, I think I'm done with this. So now I need to tighten everything and make sure everything is good to go. So I'm going to start cutting these off. We're going to start tucking them away from the wearer. Go. Push this inside of the bale. Like that. I'm going to push this one through here too. Everything can get so interesting and beautiful when you start working with wire. And this is an end piece, so I'm going to wrap this around here 2, 3 times. And I'm going to chop that off. And I'm going to secure it. And we're just going to hook this in here. Like that. There we go. Okay, so this is our other Rainforest Jasper or Moss Jasper pendant. And it's meant to be messy. It's meant to look like there are tree branches around it. I got that from the vein in the center of the stone. But I actually really, really like this. I think it's very pretty. I really, really like it. So now what I'm going to do is just take some of these and kind of bend them a little bit so they look even more like branches. Go. All right, that's all for today. I will see you in the next video. Hope you all take care. Bye.